Gennaro's secretary bustled in with a new suitcase. "You know, Mr. Gennaro," she said severely, "when you forget to pack, it makes me think you don't really want to take this trip." "Yeah, maybe you're right. I'm missing my kid's birthday for this." Saturday was Amanda's birthday, and Elizabeth had invited 20 screaming 4-year-olds to share it. As well as Cappy the Clown and a magician, his wife had not been happy to hear that Gennaro was going out of town. Neither had Amanda. "Well, I did the best I could on short notice," his secretary said. "There's running shoes your size, and khaki shorts and shirts, and a shaving kit. A pair of jeans and sweatshirt if it gets cold. The car's downstairs to take you down to the airport. You have to leave now to make the flight." She left, and Gennaro walked down the hallway, tearing the sales tag off his suitcase. As he passed the all-glass conference room, Dan Ross left the table and came outside. "Hey, have a good trip, but let's be very clear about one thing. I don't know how bad this situation actually is, Donald, but if there's a problem on that island, you burn it to the ground." "Jesus, Dan. We're talking about a big investment. Don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Just do it. Hear me?" Gennaro nodded. "I hear you," he said, "but Hammond..." "Screw Hammond," Ross said. My boy," the familiar raspy voice said. "How have you been, my boy?" "Very well, sir," Gennaro replied. He leaned back in the padded leather chair of the Gulfstream II jet as it flew east toward the Rocky Mountains. "You never call me anymore," Hammond said reproachfully. "I've missed you, Donald. How's your lovely wife?" "She's fine. Elizabeth is fine. We have a little girl now." "Wonderful, wonderful. Children are such a delight. She'd get a kick out of our new park in Costa Rica." Gennaro had forgotten how short Hammond was. As he sat in the chair, his feet didn't even touch the carpeting. He swung his legs as he talked. There was a childlike quality to the man, even though Hammond must be now, 75, 76? Something like that. He looked older than Gennaro remembered, too, but then Gennaro hadn't seen him for almost 5 years. Sitting in the leather chair of the jet, Gennaro thought about how evasive Hammond was. The old man was now ignoring the fact that Gennaro's law firm had forced the trip on him. Instead, Hammond behaved as if they were engaged in a purely social outing. "It's too bad you didn't bring your family with you, Donald," he said. Gennaro shrugged. "It's my daughter's birthday today. 20 kids already scheduled. The cake and the clowns, you know how it is." "Oh, I understand. Kids set their hearts on things." "Anyway, is the park ready for visitors?" Gennaro asked. "Well, not officially," Hammond said. "But the hotel is built, so there is a place to stay." "And the animals?" "Of course, the animals are all there, all in their spaces." Gennaro said, "I remember in the original proposal, you were hoping for a total of 12. "Oh, we're far beyond that. We have 238 animals, Donald." 238? The old man giggled, pleased at Gennaro's reaction. "You can imagine it. We have herds of them." 238? How many species? "About 15 different species, Donald." "That's incredible. That's fantastic. And what about all the other things you wanted? The facilities, the computers?" All of it, Hammond said. "Everything on that island is state-of-the-art. You'll see it for yourself, Donald. It's perfectly wonderful. That's why this concern is so misplaced. There's absolutely no problem with that island." Gennaro said, "Then there shouldn't be any problem with an inspection." "And there isn't," Hammond said. "But it slows things down. Everything has to stop for the official visit. You've had delays anyway, John. You've postponed the opening." "Oh, that," Hammond said, fiddling with his cane. "It was bound to happen. Bound to happen." "Why?" Gennaro asked. "Well, Donald," Hammond said, "to explain that, you have to go back to the initial concept of the resort. The concept of the most advanced amusement park in the world, combining the latest electronic and biological technologies. I'm not talking about rides. Everybody has rides. Coney Island has rides. And these days, everybody has animatronic environments. The haunted house, the pirate den, the Wild West, the earthquake. Everybody has those things. So we set out to make biological attractions, living attractions, attractions so astounding they would capture the imagination of the entire world." Gennaro had to smile. It was almost the same speech, word for word, that he had used on the investors so many years ago. And we can never forget the ultimate object of the project in Costa Rica. To make money, Hammond said, staring out the window of the jet. Lots and lots of money. I remember, Gennaro said. And the secret to making money in a park, Hammond said, is to limit your personnel costs. The food handlers, ticket takers, cleanup crews, repair teams. To make a park that runs with minimal staff. That was why we invested in all the computer technology. We automated wherever we could. I remember. But the plain fact is, Hammond said, when you put together all of the animals and all of the computer systems, you run into snags. Whoever got a major computer system up and running on schedule? Nobody I know. So you've just had normal startup delays? Yes, that's right, Hammond said. Normal delays. I heard there were some accidents during the construction, Gennaro said. Some workmen died. Yes, there were several accidents, Hammond said, and a total of 3 deaths. 2 workers died building the cliff road. 1 other died as a result of an earth mover accident in January. But we haven't had any accidents for months now. He put his hand on the younger man's arm. Donald, he said, believe me when I tell you that everything on that island is going forward is planned. Everything on that island is perfectly fine. The intercom clicked and the pilot said, Seatbelts, please. We're landing in Choteau. Dry plains stretched away towards the distant black buttes. The afternoon wind blew dust and tumbleweeds across the cracked concrete. Grant stood with Ellie near the jeep and waited while the sleek jet circled for a landing. I hate to wait on the money men, Grant grumbled. Ellie shrugged. It goes with the job. Although many fields of science, such as physics and chemistry, had become federally funded, paleontology remained strongly dependent on private patrons. The little jet landed and rolled quickly toward them. Ellie shouldered her bag. The jet came to a stop and a stewardess in a blue uniform opened the door. Inside, he was surprised at how cramped it was. Despite the luxurious appointments, Grant had to hunch over as he went to shake Hammond's hand. Dr. Grant and Dr. Sadler, Hammond said. It's good of you to join us. Allow me to introduce you to my associate, Donald Gennaro. Gennaro was a gangly, thin man in his mid-40s, wearing an Armani suit and wire-framed glasses. Grant disliked him on sight. He shook hands quickly. When Ellie shook hands, Gennaro said in surprise, You're a woman. These things happen, she said, and Grant thought she doesn't like him either. Hammond turned to Gennaro. You know what Dr. Grant and Dr. Sadler do? They're paleontologists. They dig up dinosaurs. And then he began to laugh, as if he found the idea very funny. Take your seats, please, the stewardess said, closing the door immediately. The plane began to move. You'll have to excuse us, Hammond said, but we are in a bit of a rush. Donald thinks it's important we get right down there. The pilot announced 4 hours flying time to Dallas, where they would refuel and then go to Costa Rica, arriving the following morning. And how long will we be in Costa Rica? Grant said. Well, that really depends, Gennaro said. We have a few things to clear up. Take my word for it, Hammond said, turning to Grant. We'll be down there no more than 48 hours. Grant buckled his seatbelt. This island of yours that we're going to, I haven't heard anything about it before. Is it some sort of secret? In a way, Hammond said. We've been very, very careful about making sure nobody knows about it until the day we finally opened that island to a surprised and delighted public.